Hey, you. Yeah, you, sitting there with your shoulders tense and your mind racing, maybe from the news, maybe from your unread messages, maybe from nothing in particular. Just that gnawing feeling, that pressure behind the eyes, that sense that something's wrong but you can't quite name it. Let's take a breath. So tonight, settle in. We're not just talking about Stoicism. We're applying it, breathing it in. And hopefully by the end you'll walk away lighter. Because as Epictetus said, we suffer not from events in themselves, but from our judgment about them. Let's begin where all Stoicism begins, with control. 32. Suffering is shared. You are not alone. There's something deeply healing about remembering that you're not the only one carrying this weight. Because anxiety lies. It tells you, you're broken. Everyone else is doing better. You're the only one struggling this much. But Epictetus reminds us every difficulty in life presents us with an opportunity to turn inward and to invoke our own inner resources. The trials we endure can and should introduce us to our strengths. And when you look around, not at social media, but at real people, you begin to see everyone is carrying something. Everyone is doing their best with what they've been given. And if they can keep walking, so can you. Spiritual exercise. 32. The shared burden. Evening reflection. Tonight, think of someone else you know who might be struggling. Write down one strength you see in them, one thing they've survived. Then write just like them. I can face this too. You are not alone. This practice, this whole series, is not about pretending things don't hurt. It's about standing up in the hurt, again and again, with eyes wide open and a soul anchored in reason, courage, and love. That's Stoicism, that's strength, that's you. And we're not done yet. Let's keep going. Here we are again, still walking, still breathing, still asking the right questions. Not because we expect a finish line, but because the act of walking itself is the transformation. This is the Stoic way, not the promise of a single epiphany that fixes everything, but 1,000 quiet moments where you pause, reflect, and choose yourself over your fear, again and again. Anxiety wants you to forget that. It whispers, you should have figured this out by now. It yells, you're behind. It demands, do something, anything right now. But you're learning to pause instead, to return instead of react, to observe instead of obey. And each time you do that, you reclaim another piece of your inner peace. Let's keep going. 33. The discipline of attention. In modern life, attention is the rarest and most stolen resource. Notifications, headlines, advertisements, endless recommended for you distractions. And what happens when our attention is fragmented? Anxiety takes root in the gaps. We stop noticing our breath. We forget where we are. We lose the thread of our own story. But Epictetus, long before smartphones and doom scrolling, gave us a crucial reminder. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Your thoughts shape your reality. Your attention shapes your thoughts. So if you're anxious, ask, what have I been attending to? The world's chaos, someone else's drama. Imagined futures I cannot control. Or, am I directing my attention inward, to what's mine, to what's real? Spiritual exercise. 33. The attention reset hourly. Pause. Set a timer to go off every hour for 1 day. When it rings, close your eyes for 10 seconds. Ask, where has my mind been? Ask, is that where I want it to be? Reclaim your focus, even briefly. You'll feel your power return. Attention is a muscle, and when you strengthen it, anxiety loses one of its favorite entry points. Let's keep training. 34. Choosing how to interpret events. There's a moment between stimulus and response, a moment where interpretation happens, and in that moment, your entire experience can change. Let's say someone cuts you off in traffic. Your interpretation might be, "What a jerk." You feel anger, or maybe they're rushing to the hospital. You feel compassion, or "This isn't worth my energy." You feel peace. The event is the same, but the story you attach, that's everything. As Epictetus said, it is not events themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. You can't always control what happens, but you can always control what story you live in. So let's train that muscle. Spiritual exercise. 34. Reframe the day. Evening journaling at the end of your day. Pick one stressful moment, then ask, what story did I tell myself about this? What other story could I have told? Which story leads to virtue? Rewrite it. You'll feel the shift not just in memory, but in identity. You are not at the mercy of events. You are the author of your response. That's Stoic freedom. 35. Practicing silence. Here's a paradox we often talk to avoid our own thoughts. We fill the room with noise. We over-explain. We seek opinions. We perform. But Epictetus valued silence not as absence but as presence. He wrote, "Let silence be your general rule," or say only what is necessary and in few words. Not because speaking is bad, but because silence reveals what's true. And when we can sit quietly with ourselves without distraction, without performance, we meet the parts of us that need the most love, the most patience, the most understanding. And in that meeting, anxiety has no shadows left to hide in. Spiritual exercise. For 35. Intentional silence, voluntary discomfort. Once this week, take 30 minutes of intentional silence. No talking, no phone, no music, no input. Just sit, or walk, or breathe. Notice what comes up. Write about it afterward. You'll find that silence is not empty. It's full of answers. Stillness is not always comfortable, but it is always clarifying. And clarity is what anxiety fears most. 36. Accepting the nature of change. So much anxiety is rooted in one false belief that things should stay the same, that your routines should always work, that your loved ones should never change, that your body should never age, that your progress should be linear. But Stoicism is built on a deep understanding of impermanence. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Observe constantly that all things take place by change. The universe loves nothing so much as to change the things which are and to make new things like them. Everything changes. This isn't bad news. It's your invitation to adapt. It's your reminder that you, too, are allowed to change, to evolve, to let go of what no longer serves you." Let's make that practice tangible. Spiritual exercise. 36. Meditate on impermanence. Morning reflection. Write this at the start of your day. Nothing I experience today will last forever, so I will not cling, I will not resist, I will participate. Then throughout the day, when something frustrates or excites you, remind yourself this too is changing. Hold it gently. You don't need everything to last. You need to show up fully while it's here. That's enough. That's the Stoic way. 37. Gratitude as grounding. Anxiety pulls your mind forward into what could go wrong. Gratitude pulls your mind back into what's already right. And even though Stoicism isn't known as a gratitude philosophy, it's built into the entire framework, because when you focus only on what's lacking, you suffer. But when you recognize what's already present, your breath, your mind, your capacity to choose, you tap into something anxiety cannot touch. He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. Epictetus. Let's practice that now. Spiritual exercise. 37 Gratitude inventory. Evening journaling each night. Write 3 things you did not earn today, but still received. Maybe the sunrise, a kind word, a working body, clean water, silence. Write, I lacked nothing. I was given more than I needed. Let that awareness end your day in peace. Gratitude isn't naivety. It's defiance. It's how you remind anxiety, I already have enough. And from that enoughness, you act, you serve, you become. Let's close with something personal. 38. You are stronger than you think. There's a line from Epictetus that lands with perfect weight. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You may not feel strong every day. That's okay. Stoic strength isn't bravado. It's not performance. It's not perfection. It's repetition. Choosing what's right when it's inconvenient. Choosing virtue when fear is loud. Choosing to try again when you've fallen. You don't need to feel strong to be strong. You just need to remember your next choice is always yours. Spiritual exercise. 38. Write to yourself. Evening ritual tonight. Write a short letter to the version of you who feels weakest. Tell them what they've survived, what they're capable of, what's still in their control. End with this line, you are not your fear. You are the one facing it. Seal it. Read it tomorrow. You've come so far, and yet you've only just begun. There's still more to unpack, more to reflect, more to remember. Let's continue. That says something profound, not just about your commitment to this practice, but about the kind of life you're trying to build. A life not dictated by fear, but shaped by reason. A life not obsessed with control, but rooted in clarity. A life that doesn't need to be perfect to be yours. That's the Stoic journey. And anxiety, as persistent and clever as it is, starts to lose power the moment you decide I'm willing to live well even when I don't feel well. That's courage, and it's what today's journey is all about. We'll now explore some of the most misunderstood ideas around resilience, Stoic acceptance, and the nature of adversity. Because here's the truth. No one tells you anxiety often shows up strongest just before a breakthrough, and your task is not to destroy it, but to meet it wisely. Let's begin. 39. This is the test. You trained for the Stoics saw adversity as practice, not punishment, not failure, not proof of your inadequacy. Practice. And that includes anxiety. Every time you feel your breath quicken or your thoughts spin into panic, Epictetus would nod not with pity, but with respect. Because this is the moment you trained for. Difficulties show a person's character. So when the trouble comes, think of yourself as a wrestler whom God, like a trainer, has paired with a tough young buck. For what purpose? To turn you into Olympic-class material? That's right. You're in training. And the anxiety you're feeling, that's the weight in your hand. You're not supposed to be free of discomfort. You're supposed to grow under it. Let's make that your mindset. Spiritual exercise. There are 39. Stoic reframing. Real-time response. When anxiety strikes, say to yourself, "This is not a threat. This is training. I am becoming stronger right now." Repeat until you believe it or until the panic subsides. You'll realize you're not a victim. You're an athlete of the soul. You don't get stronger by avoiding pressure. You get stronger by showing up with intention again and again. Let's keep going. 40. Let go of the need for a guarantee. We live in a culture addicted to certainty. We want guarantees before we leap. If I take this risk, will it work out? If I open up, will they understand me? If I try to change, will I succeed? But Stoicism teaches that needing a guarantee is a form of slavery. It binds you to outcomes you can't control. It paralyzes you with what-ifs. It keeps you on the sidelines of your own life. Epictetus offers a fierce alternative: "You may fetter my leg, but not even Zeus has the power to break my freedom of choice." Translation: you don't need a guarantee to live well. You need a willingness to act with integrity no matter what follows. Spiritual exercise. 40. The leap without the net voluntary discomfort. Today, do one thing that lacks a guaranteed outcome. Express a feeling honestly. Make a decision you've been putting off. Try something you're afraid you'll fail at. Afterward, journal. Did I act with reason and virtue? Can I be at peace, regardless of result? Courage is not confidence. It's action without a guarantee. You've been waiting for certainty, but you don't need it. You just need your next right move. 41. The universe owes you nothing. And that's beautiful. This one is hard to swallow, but it's also the most freeing idea you'll ever absorb. No one owes you anything. Not life, not success, not comfort, not even fairness. And if that sounds cold, you're missing the Stoic beauty of it. Because if the universe owes you nothing, then everything you do have is a gift. This breath gift, this sunrise gift, this ability to choose your response. Even when anxious, the greatest gift of all. Don't seek for everything to happen as you wish it would, but rather wish that everything happens as it actually will. Then your life will flow well. Epictetus. When you stop demanding life be different, you start participating in it fully. You become a co-creator, not a complainer. Let's root that mindset. Spiritual exercise. Number 41. The radical gratitude reframe evening journaling. Pick one thing that felt unfair today. Then ask, what did this moment teach me? How can I use it to practice virtue? Write, this moment was not owed to me, and still, it arrived for my growth. No entitlement, just presence and purpose. Freedom begins when entitlement ends, and with it, anxiety begins to fade. 42. Resilience comes from repetition, not revelation. We live in a world obsessed with breakthroughs, the aha moment, the grand realization, the dramatic transformation. But the Stoics knew better. You don't become resilient by thinking your way there. You become resilient by doing again and again. You train in small moments, the skipped complaint, the patient response, the quiet breath. First, learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak. Epictetus. In other words, don't just say you're stoic. Become stoic. Let the habits make the person. Let the repetition build the resilience. Let the smallest actions change the course of your life. Spiritual exercise. 42. One small virtue, daily challenge. Pick one virtue to embody for a full day. Courage, temperance, justice, wisdom, say. What does this virtue look like in action? What is one decision I'll make today to practice it? At night, reflect. Where did I succeed? Where did I struggle? What will I try tomorrow? No judgment, just training. You don't need a breakthrough. You need a habit, and you're building one right now. 43. It's okay to start over every day. If you've heard nothing else so far, hear this: you are allowed to begin again. As many times as it takes. Epictetus was exiled, crippled, disgraced, enslaved, and yet he built a philosophy that still saves lives. 2,000 years later, not because he was perfect, but because he refused to stop starting over. No man is free who is not master of himself. That mastery, it comes from forgiving yourself, from recommitting daily, from refusing to give anxiety the final word. So, if today was messy, begin again. If this week knocked you down, begin again. If your mind still feels like a storm, begin again. Spiritual exercise. 43. The reset ritual. Nightly practice each night. Say aloud, today, I did what I could. Tomorrow, I will try again. Then take one slow breath in and one long breath out. Let the day go. You are not your stumbles. You are your willingness to walk again. And with that, we close this part of the journey. But the path is far from over. Anxiety will knock again. That's its nature. But now you know how to answer. With breath, with reason, with virtue. You're becoming the kind of person your younger self needed, and the kind of person your future self will thank. Let's keep going. Still listening, still reflecting, still practicing. And that's what matters most in this whole Stoic journey. It's not that you've eliminated anxiety. It's not that you've mastered every tool. It's that you keep showing up for your own mind. You keep walking toward yourself, through the fog, past the doubt, beyond the noise. There is no finish line, no gold star, no final exam that makes you officially Stoic. There is only today, and your choice in it. Anxiety thrives on the illusion of tomorrow. Stoicism thrives in the present moment, the only place where you can actually make a decision. Take a breath and regain your footing. So let's meet the moment. Let's see what Epictetus would say next. 44. You're already equipped to handle this. When anxiety strikes, the most common internal voice says, I can't handle this. But the Stoic voice says something radically different. It says you've already been given everything you need. This idea isn't meant to be motivational fluff. It's a deep, philosophical truth. Epictetus believed that reason, judgment, and the capacity for moral choice are innate in human beings. You don't have to earn them. They're your birthright. You may need to uncover them. You may need to sharpen them, but they're already yours. And when you remember that, you stop feeling like a powerless bystander in your own mind. You start feeling like a participant again. Let's reinforce that belief. Spiritual exercise. 44. Inventory of inner tools. Morning reflection. Before your day begins, write. One fear you're carrying. One Stoic resource you already possess to face it. Patience, courage, clarity, self-awareness. One phrase to repeat when fear rises, I can choose how I respond. Remind yourself you are not empty. You are equipped. You are not waiting for someone to rescue you. You're waiting to remember your strength. You just did. 45. When in doubt. Serve anxiety is often self-centered, not in a selfish way, but in a trapped way. It loops inward. It obsesses over how I feel, what I fear, what might happen to me. And sometimes the most powerful Stoic move is to interrupt that loop with service, to take your focus off yourself and place it, momentarily, on others. Marcus Aurelius puts it beautifully. Men exist for the sake of one another. Teach them then, or bear with them. Service doesn't require grandeur. It just requires presence, holding a door, asking how someone's really doing, sending a kind text, smiling yes, even in anxiety, not as a performance, but as a practice of shifting out of your head and into the shared world. Spiritual exercise. 45. One act of service, daily intention. Each morning, set a small intention. Today, I will lighten one person's load. No reward, no expectation, just do it. Then reflect in the evening. What did I do? How did it shift my internal state? Serving others softens anxiety by reconnecting you to meaning. You don't need to feel better to do good. And sometimes, doing good is how you begin to feel better. 46. You can say no to the spiral. Here's something modern anxiety loves to do. Spiral. One intrusive thought becomes 3. 3 become 30. Before you know it, your heart is racing and you don't even remember where it started. But here's what Epictetus would say in that moment when an impression comes upon you. Meet it with reasoned reflection. You are not your thoughts. You are not your spirals. You are the interpreter of those thoughts. And interpretation can be trained. You can catch the spiral. You can interrupt it. You can redirect it. Like this. Spiritual exercise. Number 46, the spiral interruption. Script real-time use. When a negative thought arises, 1. Pause, breathe. 2. Ask, is this within my control? Or if yes, then what is the most rational response? If no, then can I let this go without judgment? 3. Say aloud, I choose not to spiral today. It's okay if the thought returns. Just greet it with the same script. Repetition creates rewiring. You are not helpless in the face of your mind. You are a trained observer and now a capable guide. 47. Beauty is still allowed. This one might surprise you. Stoicism is often portrayed as austere, stripped down, and joyless. But that's a misunderstanding. The Stoics didn't deny beauty, they noticed it more precisely. They didn't cling to pleasure, they appreciated it more deeply. Even Marcus Aurelius, emperor of an empire and student of hardship, wrote, dwell on the beauty of life. Watch the stars and see yourself running with them. When anxiety narrows your vision, beauty widens it again. So let's reclaim that without guilt, without performance, without needing to post it. Just witness the beauty. Spiritual exercise. Number 47, beauty in 3 senses. Midday practice wherever you are. Pause. Notice one beautiful thing you can see, one beautiful sound you can hear, one beautiful sensation in your body. Say, this is also part of life. I allow it in. You are allowed to feel awe, even when afraid. Gratitude and beauty are not naive. They're radical acts of rebellion against fear. Let's keep rebelling. 48. let the storm pass. Without joining it sometimes. The hardest Stoic move is doing nothing, not reacting, not fixing, not fighting, just waiting. This is especially true when anxiety feels like a tidal wave and you want to either run or wrestle. But Epictetus advises us to become witnesses, not always warriors. If you want to improve, be content to appear clueless or stupid in extraneous matters. Don't wish to seem knowledgeable. Translation: you don't need to control every outcome. You don't need to have every answer. You can let things pass. You can wait for clarity. Like a storm over the ocean, it churns, it crashes, and then it moves on. Spiritual exercise. 48. The storm seat, evening or real-time use. When anxiety rises, say, "I will sit in the center of the storm." Set a timer for 2 minutes. Close your eyes. Breathe slowly. Do not judge the feeling. Do not fight the thoughts. Just sit. After 2 minutes, open your eyes. Ask, "Did the storm destroy me?" Answer no. You're still here. Stillness isn't weakness. Stillness is strength that doesn't need to prove itself. And that kind of strength, it's unshakable. 49. Every day is practice for dying all. This may sound dark, but it's the heart of Stoicism to live well. You must learn to die well, not morbidly, not fearfully, but honestly, peacefully, courageously. The Stoics practiced memento mori, a daily meditation on mortality. Because once you remember that your time is limited, most of what anxiety obsesses over becomes unnecessary. Will this matter when I'm gone? Will this fear still define me? Will I be proud of how I lived through this moment? Epictetus said, "I cannot escape death, but at least I can escape the fear of it." That is the true Stoic prize. Let's practice now. Spiritual exercise. 49. Memento mori, nightly reflection before bed. Say, "If I do not wake tomorrow, let this day have been enough." Then ask, did I live in alignment? Did I waste time on what's trivial? Did I face fear with dignity? Let that be your closing note. You're not practicing Stoicism for the good days. You're practicing for the hard ones, the uncertain ones, the final ones. And the more you do, the lighter you become. We're nearly there now. Let's finish strong. Let's close this part with intention. You've faced your storms. Now, let's begin to find peace within them. We're nearing the final stretch. If you've come this far, it means something deep within you is stirring, a kind of awakening. Not the loud, cinematic kind, but the quiet kind. The kind that happens when your soul begins to sit up straighter. When you realize you've been holding your breath, and now you're finally exhaling. Let's not waste this final arc of the journey. Now is the time to return to what Stoicism has always promised, not immunity from pain, but a kind of inner peace that no panic, no spiral, no modern storm can take from you. Let's step into that peace, not as a fantasy, but as a practice. 50. Peace is a byproduct of living with integrity. It's easy to confuse peace with comfort. We think we'll find it when we pay off the debt, escape the relationship, finally fix our anxiety. But peace isn't a reward you unlock when life behaves. It's a side effect of living in alignment with your values even when life doesn't cooperate. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself, not master of his outcomes, not master of other people, master of himself." And self-mastery begins with integrity, doing what is right, even when it's hard, saying what is true, even when it's awkward, choosing your principles over your panic. Let's solidify that. Spiritual exercise. 50 integrity tracker daily evening practice. Write down. One moment today you honored your values. One moment you strayed from them. What you'll do differently tomorrow. End with peace is earned through alignment, not outcomes. The more your actions match your inner compass, the less you feel tossed by the winds. Peace is not a destination, it's a direction, and you're walking it. 51. Don't confuse tension with failure. There's a trap anxious minds fall into constantly. If I feel tension, it means I'm doing something wrong. But the Stoics would say the opposite. If you're stepping outside your comfort zone, if you're confronting hard truths, if you're choosing virtue over convenience, then of course there's tension. Of course you feel the resistance. That tension is not failure. It's evidence that you're alive, awake, and willing to grow. Seneca put it like this: difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. No muscle grows without resistance. No soul evolves without friction. Spiritual exercise. 51. Embrace the tension. Real-time check-in. Next time you feel discomfort in your chest, jaw, or gut, pause and say, "This tension is not a warning. It's a sign of growth." Then breathe deeply into it. No resistance, no judgment. You are not broken. You are becoming. Let the discomfort shape you, not define you. That's strength in motion. 52. Return to the body. Anxiety lives in the mind, but the body is where truth resides. Epictetus taught that the body can be harmed, but the soul cannot, unless we allow it. That's why he stressed not ignoring the body, but rather not mistaking it for the whole self. Still, there is wisdom in learning to listen to your physical self. The clenched fists, the shallow breath, the furrowed brow. All these are messengers, pointing you to where your thinking has gone astray. So instead of fighting your body or ignoring it, befriend it. Let's make space for that now. Spiritual exercise. Chapter 52. Return to the body grounding technique. Take 90 seconds. Close your eyes. Notice your breath. Inhale. Exhale. Your feet on the floor. The temperature of the air. Any tension, greet it. Breathe into it. Say, "This body is mine." It is not the enemy. You are not floating in fear. You are grounded in form. Your body isn't the battlefield. It's the ground on which you remember I'm still here. 53. Protect the inner citadel. Marcus Aurelius described something he called the inner citadel, a sacred mental fortress no one could breach without your permission. It's the space within you that remains untouched by chaos. And anxiety hates this space because it can't survive in silence, in sovereignty, in stillness. So your job isn't to never feel anxious. Your job is to retreat to the citadel when the winds howl, to remember, this is mine. My thoughts are mine. My choices are mine. No one else gets to invade unless I leave the door open. Spiritual exercise. 53. Inner citadel. Visualization evening ritual. Before bed, close your eyes. Picture a quiet, fortified room inside you. No screens, no voices, no fear, just you. Say, "No one may enter here but me." I protect this peace. Return to this room anytime you're overwhelmed. It will always welcome you back. They can touch your schedule, your inbox, your reputation, but not your inner citadel unless you invite them in. 54. Let go of the fantasy of control. Anxiety is often a side effect of clinging to control we never had. Control over what others think of us, what tomorrow brings, what our body feels like, what other people say or do. But Epictetus returns us, always, to the simplest and hardest truth: some things are up to us, and some are not. That's the Stoic divide, and the anxiety often blooms in the refusal to accept that divide. So here's the invitation not to become passive, but to become selectively powerful. Put your effort only where it counts: your judgments, your actions, your perspective. The rest, let go. Spiritual exercise. 54. The two lists. Morning reflection. Take 5 minutes. List 3 things you're worried about. For each, ask, is this in my control? If no, let it go. Write, not mine to carry. If yes, write your next right action. End with, I act where I can. I release what I cannot. This is not giving up. It's reclaiming your energy from the impossible and placing it in the present. 55. Cultivate tranquility, not constant highs. Our culture sells the myth that peace is excitement, fun, and constant stimulation. But the Stoics knew true peace is tranquility, a steady hum, a quiet flame, not boredom but stability. Anxiety thrives on the opposite: drama, urgency, fear of missing out. But tranquility asks, am I in alignment with my values? Am I grounded in what matters? Do I need this chaos, or am I addicted to it? Seneca warned a gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. But the polishing leads somewhere toward stillness, clarity, and calm. You don't have to chase drama to feel alive. You can breathe, you can rest, you can be. Spiritual exercise. 55. Midday. Stillness 5-minute ritual. Find a quiet spot. No phone, no stimulation. Sit. Breathe. Say, I need nothing more than this moment. Let that be enough, and watch the world slow down. Tranquility isn't flashy, but it is liberating, and you're closer to it than you think. We're almost at the end now, and what a journey this has been. You've unlearned fear. You've relearned virtue. You've remembered your ability to choose even when the world seems loud and uncertain. But the final step, that's where we tie it all together. Let's do it together. This is it. The final step in our journey through ancient wisdom and modern storms. And if you've made it this far, I want you to do one thing right now. Take a breath. No, seriously, pause and inhale slowly through your nose. Hold it. Exhale through your mouth. That breath is real. This moment is real. And you're still here. Still learning, still listening, still standing in the fire with a quieter mind and a steadier hand than when you started. Epictetus wouldn't congratulate you for completing this video. He'd simply raise an eyebrow and say, now, go live it. Let's do that together. 56. You will forget all of this, and that's okay. Here's the uncomfortable truth: you'll forget a lot of what we covered. You'll have anxious days again. You'll lose perspective. You'll fall into spirals, loops, distractions, and self-doubt. And that doesn't mean you failed. It means you're human. Even the Stoics practiced reminders daily. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, not others. In Meditations, Epictetus advised students to repeat the basics every day, because wisdom isn't a finish line. It's a maintenance ritual. The question isn't, have I mastered Stoicism? The question is, did I remember it when it mattered? Let's make space for remembering. Spiritual exercise. 56. The Stoic Reset. Weekly practice once a week. Reread your favorite passage from Epictetus, Seneca, or Marcus. Write one sentence. I forgot this once, but I remember it now. Choose one tool to revisit. Journaling, morning reflection, reframing spirals. Rebuild the muscle. Gently, proudly. You will forget, but you can always remember again. And that remembering, that's growth. 56. Practice until it's a reflex. The most important thing about Stoicism is this: it is a practice, not a theory, not a label, not a perfect mindset you acquire after reading enough philosophy books. It's a daily, often messy, always personal practice. Just like training the body takes repetition and sweat, training the mind takes effort, patience, forgiveness, return. You'll forget, you'll spiral, you'll react, you'll panic, and then you'll remember again. And that is the Stoic reflex, the return. No man is free unless he is master of himself. Epictetus. And mastery doesn't happen all at once. It happens slowly, one breath at a time. Spiritual exercise. 56. The Reflex Journal weekly practice. Each week, ask, when did I catch myself reacting? And choose differently. What Stoic tool came to mind without me forcing it? Where am I growing? Even if slowly, and with practice is progress. Progress is peace. Celebrate your reflexes. They're proof you're becoming free. Mastery isn't never falling. It's rising quicker, softer, and with more grace. And that's already happening in you. 57. Your identity is not your fear. This one might land like a whisper or a lightning strike. You are not your anxiety. Let that sink in. You are not the tightness in your chest. You are not the 1,000 what-ifs. You are not the hesitation before you speak. You are not the skipped event, the overthinking, the moment you froze. You are something much deeper. You are the awareness noticing those patterns. You are the will that chooses in the middle of fear. You are the soul that keeps showing up anyway. And that is something anxiety cannot touch. Spiritual exercise. 57. Identity reset morning declaration. Look in the mirror. Seriously. Say aloud, I am not my fear. I am the one who observes it, chooses despite it, and grows through it. Say it every morning for a week. Feel the truth of it begin to live in your body. You are not broken. You are breaking through. You always were. 58. Let this philosophy live through you. Marcus Aurelius never wrote Meditations for publication. Epictetus didn't know his teachings would survive millennia. They were simply living what they believed. And now, here you are decades, centuries later, reading their words, practicing their values, remembering your strength. The Stoic tradition is not a museum piece. It's a living philosophy. And now it's yours to carry forward. How not by quoting Epictetus, but by being him in how you act, respond, breathe, and love. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Epictetus. Let others feel it in your calm. Let them sense it in your clarity. Let them see it in how you stand in the middle of chaos and do not flinch. Spiritual exercise. Norm 58 Legacy. Reflection evening journaling tonight. Ask, what did I embody today that Epictetus would be proud of? Who did I affect through my presence? What kind of person am I becoming? End with, let my actions speak the philosophy. You're not just learning Stoicism. You're living it, and that changes everything. 59. Teach by living. Maybe one day someone will ask you how you became so grounded. Maybe they'll notice how you respond calmly under pressure, how you seem unbothered by drama, how you walk with a quiet confidence they can't name. And when they ask, don't give them a lecture. Give them your story. Tell them, you learned how to observe your thoughts instead of drowning in them. You discovered a few ancient ideas that made a modern life feel lighter. You practiced not perfectly, but persistently. And it changed you. And then invite them to walk the path too. Not with pressure, just with presence. That's how Epictetus taught. That's how we pass it on. Spiritual exercise. 59. Teach one simple sharing. Pick one person. Share one tool that's helped you from this journey. A quote. A breathing trick. A question you now ask yourself. Just one. That's how the world slowly tilts. You don't need to be a philosopher. Just a person who walks their truth. The rest follows. 60. End where you began with choice. Let's return to the core of it all. Stoicism is not about perfection. It's not about suppressing emotion. It's not about pretending you're invincible. It's about choice. The choice to live well even when anxious. The choice to return even after falling. The choice to pause, breathe, and act with reason, with virtue, with clarity. You've learned tools. You've practiced reflections. You've weathered storms. But what matters most is that final, quiet, persistent power you always carry. You get to choose who you'll be in this moment. Right now, and the next, and the next. Epictetus would smile, not because you never feared, but because you chose anyway. Final spiritual exercise. Morning and evening anchor every day. Moving forward every morning. Say today, I will live by reason. Today, I will return to what I control. Today, I will walk with virtue. Every evening, say today, I practiced. Today, I chose. And tomorrow, I will again. Let this become your rhythm. Not to impress, not to prove, just to be. Now, take a long, slow breath. Exhale fully. Feel your feet. Feel your heartbeat. Feel the stillness returning. This journey is done, but your practice is only beginning. So go live it. Walk with calm. Speak with clarity. Choose with courage. And when anxiety comes knocking, answer not with fear, but with your whole self. Now dim the lights. Let your eyes soften. Let your shoulders drop. And close this session in peace. You did something powerful tonight. You remembered who you are. Now rest in that knowing. Good night, sweet dreams.